Welcome, Governor.
Thank you.
We are at the heart of Germany for a very important meeting, AFIF2014. Can you please give us the reasons for your presence here and what were you spotlighting?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm here as a leader of a sub-national government in Africa. One of the challenges we are having back home today in Africa is that of investment. Africa has a very large population, over 1 billion, but there's a lot of hunger, there's a lot of poverty. What is the reason for this? Is that there's not so much investment, so a lot of the population, especially the young ones, are not employed. And of course, when they are not employed, it leads to security challenges. So what we've been trying to do back home in Africa, especially in Nigeria, but specifically in Delta, is to be able to provide employment opportunities for our young population. We are a state that is oil producing, but we also believe that the oil cannot sustain our economy for that long. So we are developing an economic model called Delta Beyond Oil, in which we are looking at other areas of the economy. So one of the reasons why I've come here today is to see how I can discuss with the investors and be able to key into our programs, because there are a lot of areas where they can invest, areas of agriculture, culture, tourism, infrastructure, solid minerals, and a lot of other areas. So that's why I'm here.
Do you think that there is a future for European-African partnerships and investments? And have you in particular received any interest from countries in Europe towards your region?
Yeah, there's a lot of future for European-African partnership. In fact, originally, it was a European-African partnership in terms of investment, but much later, the Chinese and Indians seem to have taken over. So we are here to let the Europeans know that there's a lot of opportunities in Africa, and they should look into Africa. For us in Delta, there are also a lot of opportunities. And before now, we had also made some other contacts within Europe, and they have indicated interest. And I do hope that by the time we are living here, we'll get some other European investors indicating interest in Delta.
And one last question. Your vision is quite visionary. How did you realize, or why did you realize that you had to maybe look at other sectors apart from oil? And how has your vision been accepted within Nigeria and the rest of the region?
Well, it's partly the way I grew up. When I was growing up, oil production was very minimal. You know, Nigeria then depended more on agriculture, and Nigeria was secure. There was no hunger, because you see, when you put a lot of emphasis in agriculture, the first thing you're able to deal with is food security. Okay, but when you leave agriculture, people get hungry. And because in terms of food security, at that time, there were no issues. The tendency to anger and violence was very minimal, because you know, when you're hungry, you usually get angry, and when you get angry, you usually get violent. You know, so it's a circle. So looking at my background, when I now became governor, I now said, well, we must go back to the era in which there was emphasis on other areas of the economy apart from oil. And that vision in terms of acceptability in the state, everybody agrees that is the way to go. Even Nigeria now has now accepted that vision. So we're even hearing of Nigeria beyond oil. You know, Nigeria should be looking at other areas apart from the oil economy.
I know that you're also very much focused on youth. And obviously in Africa, there is a very young population. What would you like to say to Africa's young population on how to approach their careers, or how to view the future of their own continent?
Well, for African young population, only about over 70% of the population in Africa is very young. For them, they must know that there's hope. I want to give them the assurance that there's hope. And there's a lot to do in Africa. They must not give up. but it requires also hard work. Nothing comes easy, and primarily we are the ones to develop our continent. Others will come, yes, but the primary responsibility of developing the African continent rests with the Africans, and it rests with the youth. A lot of youths did it. Mandela was a youth when he started his struggle. So many other Africans. So the youths must be up and about to be able to ensure that we have economic growth in Africa.
Thank you very much, Governor, for your time and your very interesting answers. Thank you.
Thank you.